We're basically living in a simulation where the rules of physics and biology are constantly breaking, and it's costing you more than just a little comfort. Wait until you see how scientists just proved that one of Newton's fundamental laws of motion is actually a lie. But before we get to the literal breakdown of reality, let's talk about why your weather app is gaslighting you. You've seen those days where it's 100% humidity, but not a drop of rain is falling. It's not a glitch in the forecast, it just means the air is maxed out on vapor. Since the atmosphere is full, your sweat has nowhere to go, so you stay sticky and miserable while the air stays bone dry. It's basically the weather equivalent of a full parking lot, nothing else is getting in. And speaking of being miserable in the heat, it's even weirder when the temperature drops and you realize your thermostat is a battlefield. There's a biological reason women feel colder than men. Their bodies are programmed to prioritize warming vital organs over everything else. Plus, estrogen actively constricts blood vessels, which cuts off heat flow to hands and feet, leaving them freezing even if the room is technically 72 degrees. It's like our bodies have these built-in survival settings we didn't ask for, which is exactly why left-handed people are still around. Evolution usually weeds out outliers, but lefties have what's called a frequency-dependent advantage. In one-on-one combat, they're unpredictable. Because they're a minority, opponents aren't used to their angles, making them the ultimate wildcards that nature refuses to eliminate. That kind of biological stealth isn't just for fighting, though, it's actually hardwired into how we reproduce. Unlike baboons or other primates that have obvious physical signals when they're fertile, human ovulation is completely hidden. Evolution did this on purpose to force long-term social bonding and cooperation rather than just reactive mating, which is basically what kept our ancestors from falling apart. But while we're busy bonding, other creatures are literally living in a different timeline. Turns out, some birds process over 200 frames per second. To them, the world looks like it's moving in slow motion. While we see a blur, they see every individual flap of a wing or a bug's movement in high-def detail. They're basically living in a version of reality we can't even perceive. If you think that's a trip, wait until you see the physical monsters hiding in the deep ocean that we used to think were just myths. NASA and ESA satellites finally confirmed that 115-foot rogue waves are real. These aren't just big waves, they're energy-stacked walls of water that appear out of nowhere. They explain centuries of ships just vanishing without a trace, and now we have the data to prove they're out there right now. Now, if you want to talk about a real threat coming from the ocean, it's actually starting to leak into your kitchen sink. Climate change is forcing seawater into underground aquifers, and the kicker is that 3 billion people are now drinking tap water with enough salt to spike their hypertension risk by 26. You wouldn't even taste it, but it's quietly trashing your blood pressure every time you fill a glass. But believe it or not, the salt in your water isn't even the biggest glitch in the system right now. Scientists have officially challenged Newton's third law, the one that says every action has an equal and opposite reaction. By creating something called time crystals, they've proven that in certain systems, that rule just doesn't apply. We're looking at a physical reality where the most basic laws of motion we learned in grade school are being rewritten. Physics isn't as set in stone as your textbooks claimed. Hit subscribe if you're done falling for the myths. Then click the video right there to see how just 24 rabbits physically rewrote an entire continent's geography.